Hey guys, Crowd Warrior here. Today I'd like to cover a game series that has been with me for an unreasonable amount of time now, that being Five Nights at Freddy's. When the first game originally came out, I was only 7 or 8, which is crazy considering I'm 15 now. I did not think the game series itself would go on this long. And as someone who has been around since those first few months of Five Nights at Freddy's, joining back maybe in August or October, I don't remember exactly, but it was in that time frame. I have my views on the way the game has gone since then. Generally, it's a good view. Security breach. Sorry, I had a cough there. God, security breach. And that game actually is the reason I'm making this series. I want to cover everything. From the peak of the games to the depths it's sunk to as of recently, the way the story has changed over time and the gameplay shifts from game to game. Before anything else, I need to give credit to Sagan Hawkes. He made the Fnaf retrospective series, which is 100% the reason for inspiring this series. His videos are very well made and in-depth, so if you see many similarities between our two pieces, don't be surprised. His videos made me want to put my own view on how the series progressed with some of my own personal stories, but make sure you check out his work. I'll leave the link in the description to his video, to his channel, all that. And with all that out of the way, let's start with the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. This is the rise and fall of Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's start back from the beginning. Five Nights at Freddy's was created by developer Scott Cawthon back in August of 2014. The game was inspired by criticism he got on his previous game where people said the characters looked like creepy animatronics, which you can clearly see he took to heart. FNAF was an extremely unique game considering the free roam games like Slender that came before it in the indie landscape. The gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's is simple, right? Well, as Sagan Hawkes puts it, the gameplay is deceptively simple. Follow along and see how much more complicated it gets over time. A basic explanation you could use is that you have to see where the animatronics are and close the door when they get close to you or you lose. And you have to do this until 6 a.m. That's simple enough. Well, there's layers to this because you also have to worry about power. Okay, so check the cameras less and turn on your lights in the doorway to check instead. But you also have to check on Foxy and now Freddy, who have different mechanics from just Bonnie and Chica going to your doors and you turn on the lights when they get close. You see how the game can seem easy at first, but as the nights go on, things start to spiral out of control. This is all portrayed to you through the phone guy, who leaves messages every night which explain everything from how to play the game to what's happened in the past in the story, or even to red herrings that he believed could help you, adding a different layer to the game. For example, on night 3, the phone guy says,
try playing dead. Go limp. Then there's a chance that maybe they'll think that you're an empty costume instead.
Although he does immediately retract this line, saying,
Then again, if they think you're an empty costume, they might try to stuff a metal skeleton into you. I wonder how that would work.
Even after he takes it back, many players still had the idea to stop moving once Freddy entered the office when the power went out, but that doesn't help you. It's completely randomized once Freddy gets to your door. Considering this is the first game, there's not much else to compare the gameplay to. So this game can be a baseline when we look at the other games later on in this series. Although we do know this game was a smash hit in the Let's Play community, considering the faces like Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and PewDiePie that all came in to play the game for their audience. Now I want to shift to talking about the story in this game, which is the simplest of all the games to understand and to find. Some of the story, such as the Bite of 87, was given to you through the phone guide directly, who, as I said before, gives you all the info you need to know at the beginning of every night. He has his own mini-story, which can be explained in this way. He worked where you did before you as a security guard for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. He sends you messages to tell you what to do every night, just so you know the basics. And on the 4th night that you work there, the message he leaves shows him dying. That's a pretty simple story, isn't it? He tells you all this over the phone, and if you aren't looking any deeper, it's just showing that, hey, you don't want to end up the way he did. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. As you play, you realize things are off with the animatronics. More than you thought. Like whenever Bonnie or Chica are in their respective corners, they begin twitching and making these moaning noises as if someone is crying for their last breath for help. Another thing that the animatronics possess that's very unrobotic is their jump scare scream. When you go into the files and you see the whole thing, it sounds like a child screaming. This is backed up by the fact that the cameras have a chance of displaying different things on the walls, such as crying children in the east hallway or the newspaper in the east corner. These newspaper clippings show the hidden truth of the animatronics and why they come after you. That being 5 children that went missing and were shoved into the suits, and the killer is still on the run. And when you first play, you say, yeah, that makes sense. But wait, 5 kids? But there are only 4 animatronics. Well, on rare occasions, if you check the West Hall corner, you will see a picture of a golden Freddy, who then appears in your office once you flip the camera down, and if you look at him for too long, he crashes the game. This led to many theories at the time of this game coming out, but Sagan Hawkes does a better job at covering the theories than I will, so if the theories are what interest you, go check out his video. Mine is a more gameplay and direct story that's given to you sort of series, but his goes into the deep theories and things like that. In my opinion, this game had the best form of storytelling because it allowed a common viewer to understand what was going on. When the deepest thing you had to do was just take a screenshot of the gameplay to read the newspaper articles so you don't die while you're reading them, I think that's a good place to be for hidden lore. Not all of the stuff that you have to do now, all the loops and the hoops you have to jump through, all that is too much, in my opinion. It does lead for interesting Easter egg hunts and all that, but on a mainly story-based game for the fans, I think Five Nights at Freddy's 1 does it the best. My stories with this game, when it first came out and was first gaining traction, was mainly just falling for the hoaxes because I was 7 and 8. It was natural for me to fall for those things, like the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Photoshop store I fell for. I even told my dad about that, and he won't let me live that down, so that's fun. I also fell for the Sparky the Dog hoax because it was decently believable considering how small he was supposedly was in a blurry-ass camera. But we all know these hoaxes, no matter how believable, weren't true. And in all honesty, I did ruin FNAF for some of my family because I was very into it when I was younger, and it was to an annoying point. It was the only thing I would talk about. I feel bad for them. I also remember being a bigger fan of Mark's second Five Nights at Freddy's video than his first one because it was the one on the Steam page when you went to buy the game, so I watched it before me and my sister got it. But yeah, the rest of the stories I have with this game are just small little things that happen in my life, so let's all wrap this all up, shall we? In conclusion, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 signified the beginning of a new icon in indie gaming and a new form of storytelling through secrets you had to piece together through gameplay rather being told outright. Although it wasn't the first game to do it, this game series heavily relies on that and has made it much more popular in the indie game sphere. There's not much else to say about this game that hasn't been said hundreds of times. It's just a great game with a great idea. And if you made it this far into the video, why not consider subscribing to me and liking the video? Let me know if you want to see me continue this series or ways you would like me to see it change. But with all that being said, thank you for watching. Hey, little end card here. I didn't know what to make the picture for this end card, so I just made it a picture of Dingus because he's very cool and I love him. This is a new style of video for me, which is a long series, and I would really like to get some feedback on that. But yeah, I'm editing this at 5 a.m. right now, and I am very loopy. So if you noticed a shift in editing quality by the end of this video, it's because I've gotten really tired. And past that, the whole background for this video was a clip from my old stream, so if you see any like weird consistencies in there, that's what that is. That was a stream from a few years ago, and it had some good clips in it. If you do want to go watch that old stream, it was called the Five Nights at Freddy's Nights 1 through 5 stream. But yeah, Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good night.